Hi guys, this is Hirosaki. This story is all about what if Naruto was born a low-class devil before the Great Devil War. Realizing how the devil class system subjugated devils of lower class, Naruto will represent his origins as he rises and expose the corrupted system that he lives in, and he'll do it without the high-class devils even realizing it. Before we start, kindly like and subscribe to this channel, and look over the description box for the author of this amazing storyline. Welcome aboard. Chapter 17, Firestarter. Naya. ZZZZ. Kuroka. ZZZZ. MMHHMMM, milk. ZZZZ. Kuroka, wake up girl. HM. What's happening? Kuroka opened her golden eyes to see Naruto's face looking down at her. His blue orbs that resembled the ocean were shining brighter than usual, and he had a small grin on his face. The close proximity of their faces made the cat girl blush a little, however she kept calm and spoke. "Hi, Naya," she said while bashing her eyelids at her, king, sensuously. "Glad you are awake, Kuroka," he whispered. Kuroka's eyes widened a little when she heard him say her name. Kuroka, you said my name. That is your name, isn't it?" he said with a raised eyebrow. He shook his head and changed the topic. "Never mind that, we need to go to work, Kuroka." "Work?" she said as she sat up. She was sitting in the couch in the living room with the television playing a movie. "How did I get here, Naya?" "Kuroka, my goodness!" screamed a voice coming from the kitchen. Kuroka's whole mood filled from confused to angry once she recognized the owner of that voice to be Gabriel's. Said Angel entered the living room with a small bundle in her hands. "Kuroka, my dear, are you sick? It isn't like you to fall asleep while you're working." "Work? I don't work, Naya," screamed the teenager. "Yes, you do. You're our maid," Naruto said again while pointing at his queen's attire. "Wah." Kuroka looked down at her body to see that she was wearing a maid outfit, similar to what Graphia would wear. "I'm not a cosplayer, Naya." "Stop screaming, Kuroka. You'll wake up Boruto," said Gabriel as she revealed that the small bundle wrapped in blanket was actually a baby. A baby that looked a lot like Naruto. Kuroka's eyes widened with disbelief as she jumped off of the couch and took a few steps back. "What's going on here?" she mumbled. "Come on, Kuroka. Why are you acting like this?" said Naruto as he went and stood by Gabriel and wrapped his arm around her waist. "You know that Gabriel and I are married. You've been with us all this time." The sound of pattering feet alerted the group as they turned their attention to the stairs. Two little girls that looked like clones of Gabriel ran down the stairs and towards Naruto and Gabriel. "Mom. Dad. Miko won't let me play with her dolls." "They're not only yours, Kushina," shouted the other girl named Miko. "Mom said that you have to share. Why don't you two play with big sister Kuroka? You can help her wake up by going outside and getting some fresh air, huh?" suggested Naruto. "Okay." Both Miko and Kushina's eyes lit up as they turned to Kuroka, who looked horrified. "Come on, Kuroka. Let's go outside and practice our magic," shouted Kushina as she grabbed Kuroka's left hand while Miko grabbed her right. The two stated to pull Kuroka out the door, no matter how much she struggled. Kuroka's eyes were starting to form tears as she watched Naruto and Gabriel smile at the child that was in Gabriel's hand. "I don't want this," cried out Kuroka as she continued to struggle against the girl's grasp. "She's replacing me. She's replacing me," she yelled. "Kuroka is such a sweet girl, always wanting to play with the children," said Gabriel with heavenly giggle. "I've always felt that we had a mother-daughter relationship, so it's good to see her get along with her sisters. We've made such amazing children," he said as he kissed Gabriel on the cheek, "and with those children came amazing sex. Let's go have some now." Boruto, who was in Gabriel's arm, turned his head to look Kuroka in the eyes. He had a pacifier in his mouth, but what freaked out Kuroka was when he took it out of his mouth and spoke. None of this would be happening if you didn't leave Papa for Jinta. You didn't put us first. You deserve this. Kuroka's heart dropped as she was pulled outside by the two girls and the door shut behind them. Kuroka. Naruto's bedroom. Nia? Screamed Kuroka as she jumped off of the floor. My protege. Are you all right? Said Naruto, who was on the left of her. She looked around her to everyone from Naruto's peerage was surrounding her, along with Naruto and Gabriel, looking at her with confusion and worry or, in Orochimaru and Kisame's case, amusement. Seems like you were having a bad dream there, girlie. Kisame said with a chuckle, you were mumbling something about kids, being a maid, and my personal favorite, fuck that angel bitch. I wonder what you were dreaming that gave you such a scare. He laughed. Kuroka wanted to claw into Kisame's face, but she wanted to know what happened to her first. How did I end up on the floor? She asked. When Ms. Gabriel said that she had to kiss Naruto in order to heal him, you spit out your milk in shock and then fainted. Explain Lee, you've been out for a couple of minutes. You really worried me. Naruto whispered as he hugged his queen. Kuroka blushed at the close contact with Naruto, however the same words that she heard from Boruto rang throughout her mind. None of this would be happening if you didn't leave Papa for Jinta. You didn't put us first. You deserve this. She internally flinched at the memory and clutched onto Naruto's weak body. I'm sorry for worrying you, Naya. She whispered back. While she was hugging him, she noticed that Samahata was licking up the milk that she dropped and spit out of her mouth. A small shudder coursed through her body. Nasty. That's so adorable, said Gabriel as she clasped her hands together and watched the scene between Naruto and Kuroka. You two care about each other so much about each other, and it's so cute. It's moments like this that I enjoyed the most during our travels around the global. It seemed like it was just yesterday when I met Naru and Kuroka. She said happily as she thought back to the past. While that would be a nice conversation to have, we need to focus on the task at hand, said Anna, showing off her authority. Gabriel-sama, you said it, you can heal Naruto-sama, correct? Yes I can, said the angel. Normally I wouldn't have to resort to such methods of healing, but Naruto's injuries can't be healed by normal healing techniques. His whole body is suffering from malnutrition and his magic functioning properly within his body. To put it into context, because of Nara's power of destruction randomly flowing throughout your body, any attempt to heal his body with magical spells will be negated or won't be as effective because it's counteracting it. She explained. That's very logical. Even I didn't understand why we couldn't heal him through regular terms, said Orochimaru, who was quite interested in the Seraph's explanation of Naruto's sickness. It's a very complicated process, so you shouldn't blame yourself for not understanding, Orochimaru. She said, what you all were doing to help him has been very effective. By what you've told me, he can do basic tasks all by himself, which is very good. A question, if you don't mind, said Orochimaru. Let's say we never rehabilitated Naruto-sama. How would his condition be as of now? He'd probably be very weak and couldn't move so much. She answered, this condition Naruto is going through can only be healed through a long and vigorous process. The first stage would be for him to just wait it out. Seeing as it would take time for him to control all of his magic that is dangerously flowing throughout his body, the first step to recover would be time. And how long would that take under regular conditions? Asked Yo. Under regular conditions? Probably a few centuries. She admitted sadly, I'd say over 200 based on how his magic is fluctuating within his body, and how weak his body, which is why I wish he would have told me where he was sealed. I would have come and saved him from his torture. He. Sorry about that, he said with a cheeky grin and a head scratch. I didn't want to trouble you with my problems. Gabriel gave him another worry-filled glance before continuing her explanation. During that time, his body would continually grow stronger. Stronger. I can tell that he's healed more than usual because of Kuroka's chakra. Chakra users have better healing abilities than those with magic, which is why he's gotten better this quick. However, he wouldn't be able to access a lot of his magic either. His current state would his health he could be for a very long time. So, what's so special about your spell that can heal him? Asked Kuroka with a tone of annoyance in her voice. She still didn't like how the only way for her to heal Naruto was by kissing him, but she knew that her next explanation would probably convince everyone on why she should do it. What my spell does is that it can forcibly rearrange one's magic properly within their body. What would take centuries, I can do in seconds by using my magic to calm and shift everything where it needs to be. In Nara's case, his magic needs to be calmed since he has the power of destruction. Since his body is weak and his magic is randomly convulsing within him, his power of destruction is acting similar to a poison since he can't handle it. Every time he uses magic, his power of destruction is literally deteriorating his body from the inside out. She finished. So, he's been like this since the moment we freed him? Asked Hao. Gabriel nodded, confirming his assumption. So that means you've been hurting yourself whenever you would use your magic and you never told us about it? He asked as he turned to his king. I didn't want to worry you guys. He said with a small shrug of his shoulders. Damn it, Naruto-sama. Said Anna with a glare, you were supposed to be getting healthier, not hurting yourself even more by using magic. I know. But look. Don't I look healthy now? Naruto said with a beaming smile. Last night you were on the floor bleeding out of every part of your body. She said with a serious stare, you don't need to be using any magic until you're healed. Well then, let's get this show on the road then. Said Naruto as with clap, Kisame, can you hand me my Karmax? My lips are a little dry. Yes sir. Said Kisame, but he was grinning at Kuroka the whole time as he reached for the lip balm. Gotta make sure my boy's set. He said with a laugh as he handed it to Naruto. I'm going to fucking kill him later on. She said with a low growl as she watched Naruto coat his lips with the Karmax. Have you done this before, Gabriel-sama? Asked Lee. Yes, I have. She answered, some time ago, during the Three Factions War, there would be some angels that would be cursed by magicians that joined the fallen angels or devils. I would use this method to break those curses, saving my kind from those horrendous struggles. So, you're experienced in kissing other men? Said Kuroka with a small glare. In a way, yes, but I do it because I love everyone, and if I can help someone in dire need, I'll be there for them. She said with a beaming smile that glowed happiness and innocence. So much in fact, Kuroka had to take a step back from all of the positivity surrounding her. Fucking bitch and all that innocence. All this light is hurting my soft skin, Naya. She yelled mentally. Alrighty. All set. Said Naruto as he popped his freshly bombed lips, phew. When was the last time I kissed someone? Man, I'm old, he. I'm ready when you are, Naru, but I just want to make sure if you're alright with this. Said Gabriel as she shifted closer to him in the bed. I don't want you to be uncomfortable while doing this because it will mess up the healing process. Oh, I'm alright with it. He said with a smile, just one quick kiss, and then I'm a healthy guy. No biggie. I know but. She looked at everyone else and small blush appeared on her face. There are so many people watching us. I'm a little embarrassed. Hell no. You're going to H. We'll be leaving now. Said Anna as she summoned Goki, one of her Shikigami guards, to cover Kuroka's mouth and drag her out the room. Come on, everyone. Make sure you don't go for too long now. She might catch feelings. Laughed Kisame as he followed everyone else out of the room. Orochimaru sighed as he closed the door behind him, leaving Naruto and Gabriel alone in bed. Catch feelings? said Gabriel in confusion as she turned to Naruto. What does that mean, Naruto? I don't know. Kisame uses a lot of slang that I don't understand. He said with a shoulder shrug, but I want to thank you for helping me, Gabriel. With you healing me, I'll be at 100% again. I can get out of this bed without worry anymore. I can leave this house freely without my peerage members yelling down my throat. Even though I appreciate them for it, it gets kinda annoying, you know? I understand, and thank you for that. While I wish you would have told me where you were sealed at so that I could free you, I'm glad that you're free now, and that I can help you. I enjoyed the times I had with you in Kuroka, even though they were short. But now that you'll be healed, we'll get to have more of those times together and with more people. I'm just happy that you're finally free. Though, I wish you would tell me why you were sealed. She said with a small pout. He. I'll tell you why when it's important. It wasn't anything bad that I did. Just want to let you know that I was innocent. He said frantically. You're a good person, Naru. I'm sure you didn't do anything wrong. She said with a small smile. So, how does this kissing thing work? Do I need to be sitting in a specific way? He asked. Just relax, try to calm your nerves, it'll make it easier for me to access your magic and sort it out. She explained. Alrighty, and hey, just wanted to know why does this have to be done by a kiss? He said as he laid back in the bed, sighing as the soft mattress felt good against him. Why can't it be done with, like a high five or something? Gabriel giggled at the blonde Bael. It can't be done with a high five, Naru. It has to be done by kiss because it's easier for me to send my magic into you through an opening through the body. It's almost like a guide because I can focus on one place at one time, then move inward. It sounds funny, but it works. So, you're basically inside of me. He said with a wiggle of his eyes. Yes, basically, I'll be inside of you. Damn it, Gabriel. You're too innocent to understand my joke. He said with a grunt. Watch your mouth. I can't be kissing something so vulgar. She said with a laugh. Should I go brush my teeth first? I do have that good mouthwash that gets everything too. Minty fresh, he said as he blew at Gabriel's face. Stop it. She said with a laugh as she pushed him away from her. When he pushed her back, Gabriel gained a glint in her eyes as she jumped on him. Naruto yelped as the two started to wrestle. From the other side of the door, Naruto's peerage stood outside, waiting for the two to finish the spell. Both Kisame and Yo had their ears to the door, listening into what they were doing. Yup, they're fucking, said Kisame causally as he pulled back from the door. What? I'll kill Tha-Kuroka was cut off again as Goki wrapped his arms around her and covered her mouth with his hand. The Nekishu was fighting against the ogre, but he held the powerful kitty in a strong vice grip that she couldn't get out of. They're not having sex, Kuroka. You can calm down now, said Yo with sigh as he pulled his ear away from the door. They're just play wrestling. And everyone knows wrestling leads to fucking. Laughed out Kisame, it's just a fact. He said that was a fact, shouted Kuroka. She had pried Goki's hand off of her mouth for a quick second, but he quickly forced his hand back over it so she couldn't make any more noise. Can they just get this over with? Grumbled Orochimaru with annoyance while he sipped out of coffee cup again. I left my newspaper in there. Hopefully they will, said How as he crossed his arms over his chest. I just want him to get healed so we can leave this maggot-filled world for good. Back inside the bedroom, Gabriel had pinned Naruto under her. While she was just fine and laughing at the play fight, Naruto was taking in a couple of deep breaths. He wasn't fully recovered from the fight he just had against Valley, so he wasn't at his best at the moment. Gabriel noticed this and instantly frowned. You're still hurt. Hee, it's nothing to worry about, he said with a weak grin. I'll be fine soon, thanks to you. Gabriel smiled down at him. Are you relaxed? she said softly. Yeah. Good, just stay still then, you'll be back to your energetic self soon. Thank God for that. Ouch. Stop that, you need to take this serious. I'm serious, and I'm ready. Good. Gabriel cuffed the sides of Naruto's face loosely and ascended downwards. Naruto's grin slowly melted away as he closed his eyes and waited for Gabriel's lips to meet his own. The feeling of soft lips on his own made his eyes widen as a sense of euphoria erupted within him. An odd feeling of something flowing down his throat and into his body was there, but he didn't focus on that at all. He didn't care that his once tense muscles were starting to be relaxed by the soothing aura that slowly made its way throughout his body like a train. He didn't care about the sudden fluctuation of his magical levels increasing greatly, nor did care that he didn't have any sharp pains in his body anymore now that his power of destruction was calmed by Gabriel's magic. He didn't care that he could take more oxygen than usual now that Gabriel's healing aura repaired all of his organs and his blood flow was back to being normal. None of that mattered to Naruto at all. What is this feeling? He said internally as he stared at Gabriel's closed eyes. His feet twitched as her magic made its way down to his legs. What? Why do I feel so at peace? For 10 seconds, Naruto's mind was washed of everything. The only thing that he cared about was the feeling of Gabriel's lips on his own and the contentment that came with it. He felt like he was floating in a space of comfort and warmth, a feeling that he's never felt in his whole life. During their kiss, the two were encased in green veil of light magic. Even though Gabriel had her eyes closed, she could feel that her light was burning his skin since he was a devil. She tightened the grip that she had around his face as she continued to heal him, but a sense of guilt washed through her body, because she knew that he was also hurting. Nevertheless, she continued with the process because she knew that he wouldn't want her to stop. After 10 seconds, Gabriel had finished healing his body and slowly pulled away. She opened her magnificent blue eyes to see that his were already open and focused on her. She blushed a little in embarrassment and looked away. Are you all right? She asked quietly. Gabriel. He muttered. He blinked a few times after he realized that the spell was over and focused back on the real world. He shook his head a little and took in a deep breath. Yeah, I'm all right. Gabriel winced when she noticed that there were a few burn marks littered all over his body, because of the light she produced. I'm sorry for the external injuries. I didn't want to hurt you, but I knew that you would want me to finish the spell. He hummed but didn't say anything else to reply. Gabriel moved to his side and helped him sit up in the bed. How do you feel? She asked him. I feel. His eyes widened and he gripped his sheets as he went speechless. His body started to shake, which instantly put Gabriel on edge. Naruto, are you okay? She asked while putting a comforting hand on his shoulder. However, he ignored her fully, as if she wasn't there. His body stopped shaking after some time, and a grin slowly grew on his face. This feeling, This feeling. He suddenly jumped up on his feet and summoned a deep red veil of pod to surround him. I haven't felt like this since being sealed in that box. No, this is even better. Ah. This is it. I'm in control now. Ah. Naru, please calm down. Shouted Gabriel as she tried to reach for his hand, but his pod wouldn't allow it as it would hurt her hand each time she got close to him. The door to Naruto's bedroom burst open and his peerage members flooded into the room after hearing their master's screaming voice. What the hell is going on? Shouted Yo as he entered the room with Anna right behind him. Guess what, guys? I'm back and better than ever. Shouted Naruto with a maniacal grin and glowing red eyes as he amped up his magical outage. This feels great. Naruto-sama, while I'm glad that you are healed, we need you to calm down. Said Orochimaru as he approached the blonde Bael, we need to access your body to see what's changed. Oh. So, you mean we should fight? Asked Naruto with a grin filled with mischievous, great idea, Orochimaru. What better way to test my unlocked potential is using it now? He said while another surge of red magic surrounded him. Damn it, he's lost it again. Muttered Anna as she watched her, King, laugh insanely. I don't know what to do. Cried out Gabriel frantically. She didn't like how Naruto was acting because she's never experienced him like this. This was like a different Naruto that she was witnessing, and she didn't know how to calm him down. I guess the only way to calm him down is by tiring him out, said Kisame as he grabbed Samahata's handle from behind him. No, stated Kuroka suddenly. The Nekisha stepped up towards Naruto with authority. We don't need to fight. Naruto, calm down now, she said with a glare that didn't hold room for any arguments. Naruto smirked at his queen, and why not, my protege? Shouldn't you be excited the most now that I've fully recovered? I am happy for you, but scaring your guest isn't the way to celebrate. That's why I'm telling you to stop with all of this unnecessary yelling. Calm down, she said, intensifying her glare to greater levels. Naruto raised an eyebrow at his queen, not expecting her to be this serious. He turned around to see Gabriel with worry-filled eyes. She was trembling and had the face of a saddened child because she didn't know how to help the situation. Naruto's crazed grin slowly morphed into a small frown as he called of his power. Because of the power circling around him, he was levitating from the ground. After recalling his magic, however, his feet slowly floated back down on the bed. Sorry about that, he said while scratching the back of his head. Guess I just lost control a little bit. Humph. Kuroka grunted and walked back out the room, ignoring the surprised looks everyone had. She actually calmed him down? Orochimaru said with a hint of surprise. He didn't see her do anything special to calm him down, so why did he listen to her this time and not the others? Naruto sighed as he watched Kuroka walk out of the room. Now she's mad at me. What did I do to deserve this? Oh wait. I'm glad you have your powers back, Naruto-sama, but it would be for your benefit for you to know how to properly channel your energy. Maybe you could join me during my meditation practices? Suggested Anna. Yeah, that does sound nice. I should start back training with my puzzle pieces as well, he murmured while scratching his chin, and I need to find another rating game for us soon. Well, I'm glad that you're back on your own 2 feet, Naru, said Gabriel as she got out of the bed, but I need to leave in order to prepare for the 3 factions meeting tomorrow. It's a very important meeting that will hopefully solidify peace between the 3 factions. Oh, that thing? Azazel invited me to that. Naruto said plainly. The meeting is due for tomorrow, right? It is. Gabriel's eyes widened and a magnificent smile grew upon her face as an idea popped up in her head. We should go together. We should. It'd be quite the entrance, said Naruto with a smile of his own. I'd gladly go with you. Then I'll meet you here before the meeting? She asked. Sure thing. I'll see you then, said Naruto with a thumbs up. That's great. Oh, how I've enjoyed my time meeting each and every one of you. I'll be back tomorrow before the meeting. Have a blessed day, Gabriel said with a wave before disappearing in a flash of light. Damn it, muttered Kisame after receiving a headache from Gabriel's prayer. I don't need any of her fucking prayers. Shit hurts. I'm just glad we got that over with. Said how after recovering from his headache, we've got Naruto-sama healed now, so all we have to focus on is the meeting tomorrow. Get through that, and we can go to the underworld in peace. Wait, we're leaving? Asked a confused Naruto. I thought we liked it here. Kuo is becoming a hot spot, Naruto-sama. Magical beings have been appearing left and right ever since we arrived. The only reason why we came here in the first place was with the goal of freeing you. Now that we have achieved that and more, we can leave this despicable place now before something else happens," explained Orochimaru. "But where would we move to?" asked Naruto. "Not that I don't trust my own peerage members, but we can't just move anywhere in the underworld, especially with what I plan on brewing up. We need to stay out of public eye." "I've got that covered already," said Orochimaru. "While you may not like the neighbor you'll have, the location of our next place of operations is very private and isolated." I trust the advisor of my peerage enough to find a place for us in the underworld, so I'll leave that alone for now," said Naruto. "Is there something you want us to do in the meantime?" asked Lee. "For now, let's just focus on the meeting happening tomorrow. There'll be a lot of important figures there, so it'll be best to put that at the head of our to-do list rather than anything else," said Naruto as he stepped off of his bed and opened the door to his closet. "And what about you, master?" asked Lee again. Naruto smirked at his only rook and pulled out the puzzle sets that Kuroka bought for him. "Training, of course. I'd like for you to join me with it, Lee." He. The next day, Kuo Academy. It was after school and Sona was walking back to her office in the student council room to prepare for the three factions meeting that was set to happen in a couple of hours. While she didn't show it on the outside, she was really nervous about everything because this would be her first major political meeting in her life. Even though she wouldn't be in the actual meeting, she was basically on guard duty. Just being in the presence of some of the most powerful beings all gathered in one spot is pretty nerve-wracking, especially with tensions so high between the factions. However, she was determined to make sure the meeting went smoothly. She had just met up with Rias to discuss the setting and preparations she had to make at the old school building, along with informing her of which side of the schoolyard she would be guarding while the meeting was happening. Sona sighed as she pushed past her office doors, the stress of the whole situation taking a toll on her. However, she perked up when she heard a familiar voice speak. "Little insignificant pawn of Sona's, can you please go fetch me some snacks? I'm not your freaking butler," shouted Saji in anger at the smirking man sitting in one of couches. A small smirk grew on Sona's face as she entered the room. "You really need to control that mouth of yours, How. It could get you into trouble one day," she said as she stopped beside his chair and folded her arms over her chest. "Just the person I wanted to see," said How as he stood up and stretched his hand out towards her. "You seem stressed." "Of course, anyone in your position would be, seeing as you have a very important meeting happening on your school grounds. I am stressed, but a good conversation might be what I need to wind down," she said as she shook his hand. "It's nice to see you again." "The same to you," said How with his ever-present cocky smirk on his face. Saji almost barfed at the scene in front of him. He could see the admiration in Sona's eyes as she stared at How, and it filled him with jealousy because she was looking at another man that way. But he didn't want to cause a scene, so he slowly exited the room, leaving the two by themselves. "I assume you're here to make fun of my predicament," said Sona as she sat at her desk chair. How shrugged his shoulders as he answered, "Usually I would, but you seemed more stressed than ever, so I'll keep my thoughts to myself. And I'm thankful for that," she said with a little snicker. "The overall work isn't hard, it's just that I'll be in charge of protecting a meeting so many powerful figures. I'm worried that I'll mess up, and that I'll show that I'm just a little girl that doesn't know anything about the real world," she finished with a lower tone. How hummed and thought, "Not used to seeing this side of Sona. True, but I think you're just overthinking everything. You're just keeping watch, not writing a whole peace treaty. If anything goes wrong, it must be because of an enemy that is stronger than you appeared. There's nothing you can do about that." "I know," she said as she took off her glasses and placed them on the desktop, "but I really want to prove myself that I can hold my own, and that I can face this real world that Naruto-sama always talks about. I want to prove that I'm not pampered girl that my last name depicts me as." How narrowed his eyes at the Citri heiress in concern. "I'm sensing something else is amiss here. Do you want to talk about it?" Sona sighed again for what felt like the 100th time today before replying. "I had a conversation with my parents and my older sister a few days ago. I confronted them about everything I know about Naruto-sama, and I wanted them to tell me the truth. While I feel like they left out a few details, I know what they did to him. And what do you think about him now? Asked the older Asakura. For one, I want to know why he hasn't tried to expose all of those involved with his sealing. Said Sona. Secondly, I want to know what he plans to do now. He's such an amazing person, and for him to go through all of that and still have a good heart, I want to know what he plans to do with himself and those that were involved with his sealing. Now that I'm thinking about it, I understand now why everyone was so tense around Naruto-sama and Gremory-sama during class observation day. That must have been one hell of a conversation. Yes, Naruto-sama can be very confusing at times, but he's a smart man. Even I don't know what he has planned for us, but I know it will be something major that will shake the underworld possibly even more. While I don't believe Naruto-sama is the purest of souls, he's a good person, and whatever he's doing must be for the benefit of a lot of people. How summed up? I understand that, but what could it be that he's planning? And why hasn't he acted in revenge for those that sealed him? Asked Sona. Any other devil would be out for blood if they were put through the things Naruto-sama went through. What is it that keeps him going? If you want to know so badly, we can ask him. Suggested Hao. Sona quickly shook her head. No, I can't do that. I have to prepare for the meeting tonight, and I don't want to be a bother. I'll ask some other time. Please, you must not know who we're talking about. Said Hao as he stood up from the couch. Naruto-sama would probably be happy to see you. You can ask him all of your questions, and I'm sure he'll give you a proper answer. Are you sure? I don't want to be rude. Said Sona as she put her glasses back on and stood up with Hao. Humph, follow me. Hao said as teleported away. Sona rolled her eyes. So rude. She mumbled as she followed Hao's footsteps, and teleported to Naruto's peerage house. Sona and Hao appeared in front of Naruto's house. Hao opened the door for Sona when they walked up the stairs to the front porch. After you. Such a gentleman. I thought you weren't a nice person, Hao. Snickered the girl as she walked through the front entrance. Please, I'm far from that. Smirked Hao as he closed the door behind him. From the living room, Kuroka was laying on one of the couches while Anna and Yo were sharing another. They were all watching a movie together, but their attention was pulled from the TV screen when they heard the door open and closed. Their neutral faces changed to one of shock when they saw Hao enter the house with Sona Citri. All they got from his was a wave before he led Sona up the stairs, leaving the group highly confused about what they just saw. Hold on. Said Yo as he turned to the two females in the room. Did you see what I just saw? I don't know, Naya. Said Kuroka, thoroughly shook. What just happened? Since when did girls like Hao's uptight ass? That's going to be the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Muttered Anna, allowing a little emotion to present itself on her usually emotionless face. The two made their way up the stairs and down the hallway undisturbed, something they were grateful for. Once they made it to Naruto's bedroom door, Hao knocked softly on it. Naruto-sama, are you awake? I have someone who wants to see you. Oh, is that Hao? Said Naruto from within the room. Enter. Enter. Hao opened the door for Sona before walking into the room himself. In the room were both Naruto and Lee. Lee was sitting in one of the chairs on the right side of Naruto's bed, staring angrily at a few puzzle pieces on the bed. Naruto himself was sitting upright in his bed with a lot of puzzle pieces laid out in front of him. Ah, Sona. It's so nice to see you. It's nice to see you as well, Naruto-sama. Said Sona with a bow. I must say, you seem healthier than before. Have you really progressed in your health that quickly? She asked. Yup. I'm fully healed thanks to a special friend of mine. He said with wide smile. I've got all my powers back, and I can move around finally without a struggle. I'm back for good now. That's good to hear. I'm happy for you. The Citri heiress then took notice of Lee, who hadn't said anything yet because of his intense staring of the puzzle pieces. What is Lee doing? We're training, answered Naruto. What we're doing is coating the puzzle pieces with our magic, and the goal is to match all the pieces together at once. Can't use our hands at all. This exercise helps with magic control and development. It's also a form of telekinesis, which is always a fun ability to have. YOSH. I think I have it this time, shouted Lee, alerting everyone in the room. Lee gritted his teeth and clapped his hands together, uttering a few words of encouragement to himself. All of the puzzle pieces moved the instant he clapped his hands in random directions. After a few seconds, half of the puzzle pieces connected together, while the other half were left trying to force themselves into spaces they didn't fit. Nanu. I spent 10 minutes on that, cried out Lee with a river of comical tears flowing from his eyes. It's alright, Lee. You're doing well for a rook, who hardly uses magic anyway. I see this as a small victory for you, said Naruto with a kind smile. Really? Asked Lee with a sniff as he wiped his eyes. Really, answered his king. A massive fire burst in Lee's eyes as he jumped up from his chair. Then I shall practice even more until have this spell mastered. Thank you so much, Naruto-sama. I won't disappoint you. The green beast yelled as he gathered all of his puzzle pieces and vanished out of the room in a burst of speed. Wow, muttered Sona with a sweat drop. He's really energetic. And it's one of the reasons why I added him to my peerage. Lee is such a fun person to be around, said Naruto with a closed-eyed smile. But I'm sure you're here for your own reasons, Sona. Is there something that I could help you with? She has some questions that she wanted to ask you, Master. I knew that you were probably bored, so I brought her here to entertain you for a while, explained how as he took a seat at the foot of bed, Sona joining him by grabbing a chair for herself. Oh really? This should be interesting, said Naruto as he closed his eyes. The remaining puzzle pieces glowed with red magic surrounding them, and they all flew into one of the open drawers in Naruto's nightstand. Gah, that gives me a headache. Gotta work on that more often now that I can. He mumbled to himself as he rubbed his forehead. So what is it that you want? To keep things short, I know more about you now, she said as she crossed her legs. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her in curiosity. I know why you were sealed, and who did it? Oh. A small grin grew on the blonde Bael's face. And how does that make you feel? It makes me angry. There were so many ways to go about the situation you were in, but I feel like they just got rid of you because they didn't want a low-class devil to be patterned with a high-class devil, and that is what happened. I talked to my parents and sister about almost everything, but now I want to hear your perspective, your side of the story. That makes sense, said Naruto while rubbing his hands together. So let's get to it. What's your first question? Why didn't you tell me you were dating my sister? Asked Sona with a small glare. Throughout your stories, you would say that you and my sister were just good friends and nothing more. Why leave out the fact that you two were romantically involved? Getting right to the good stuff, said Naruto before replying. The reason why I didn't want you to know that me and Seraphol were involved was, for one, I didn't want you contacting her at all to see if it was true. I was pushing it by just mentioning that I was a part of Seraphol's legion, but I knew that if I told you that we were once together, you would have called her about it, alerting her that I was back. I wanted to wait before anyone major knew that I was still alive. And the other reason? Asked Sona with curiosity. I wanted you to build your own perspective of me without knowing that I was with your sister. He said. Granted, you could say that it was another form of me manipulating you by not giving you all the details, but I wanted you to get to know me as Naruto, the war hero, and not Naruto, the guy who dated your sister, because there's more to me than that. By now, I'm actually used to your peerage members manipulating me, so it doesn't surprise me, she said while giving a quick glance at Hao, who was giving her his usual cocky grin. But I'm glad that you told your story to me in that way. Because of it, I can judge you based off of who you are and not who you were once involved with. Well then my plan succeeded then, said Naruto with a smile. Another thing I wanted to ask was if you knew my sister and Gremory-sama would be at class observation day. She asked, referencing Seraphol and Zeoticus. No, I didn't. I wanted to meet up with Orochimaru to eat those pickles that Saraward gave me. Whatever happened to those pickles? You destroyed them, answered Hao. Oh. That sucks, but yeah. I didn't know that they would be there. That was a fun little get-together, he. He laughed. And how do you feel about my older sister now? She asked with a bit of hesitation. Honestly, I could watch her die in front of me without any type sorrow for her. He mumbled darkly with low eyelids. Any love I had once for her was eradicated when she betrayed me for social statues among the high-class devils. She made her choice, and I've made mine. I was afraid you would say that, Sona said while suppressing a shudder. Naruto could be scary whenever he wanted to, and he surely did creep Sona out whenever he was mad. While I understand why you're angry, she's also my sister. No matter what she did, I can't hate her. You don't have to, Sona, answered Naruto, surprising the young Citri. This isn't your battle for you to pick sides on. This is, or at least, it was between me and your sister, nothing more. Our relationship is done. I don't want you to hate your sister just for me. I know that would be an impossible task for me to ask of you. I just want you to understand what was done. Whatever you take from that is up to you. Thank you for being so understanding, Sona said with a small bow. I was afraid that you would get angry when I told you that I'd like to stay neutral between both parties. However, I do feel like I am more on your side than my family's. Well, I'm glad that I've had such an impact on you. Means a lot to an old guy like me, he said while scratching the back of his head, his personality doing a complete 180 from how he previously was. Anything else you wanted to ask me? Well, I wanted to know what you were going to do now that you were free. Free? What are your plans against those who sealed you? You had a few opportunities to take your anger out on those who plotted against you, but you didn't exact any revenge against them, she said. Oh, I'll get my revenge against them, just not in the usual fashion most magical beings would. I can't tell you all the specifics yet, but just know that it will be a fun journey, he said with an eye smile. Okay, Sona said, a bit unsure of his answer. If you two don't mind me interrupting, said Hao, speaking for the first time in a while, I have a request that I need your permission for, Naruto-sama. Oh? What is it? He asked. Sona here is a little worried about her guard duty position during tonight's meeting among the three factions. I wanted to ask if you'd allow me to assist her during the meeting, just to give her more support in protecting everyone that is inside the school grounds during that time, he said, ignoring Sona's surprised face as she looked at the older Asakura brother. Really now? Said Naruto, that's an interesting task. It does get in the way a little because I was planning on bringing you with me to the meeting tonight, but I can just replace you with some like Anna or Kisame. You can go with Sona then for the night. Just don't become a bother for her. Yes, sir, he said with a small bow. Thank you for this, Naruto-sama. It really calms my nerves knowing that Hao will be there with me during the night, she said with the utmost gratefulness. Well, now that we got that out the way, I guess I need to get ready for this meeting, said Naruto as he pushed the covers off of him and jumped out of bed, revealing his black muscle shirt and orange sweatpants. Should I dress as a snazzy guy who can do your taxes, or the cool hipster that wears a pair of sneakers with his tuxedo? Decisions. While the dress code wasn't stressed, I suggest that you do wear formal attire. You will be surrounded by the leaders of the three factions, so it would do you good to make yourself look presentable, said Sona. Since you come from a high-class family, I guess that means that you'd be knowledgeable about these types of events, muttered Naruto as he was searching through his closet. I still want to go in my wheelchair. Even if I can walk, that wheelchair is just comfortable. If you need something formal to wear, I'm sure Orochimaru has some spare clothes for you. Said How. Good idea, my bishop. Said Naruto, slamming his closet door shut. The only thing I had in that closet anyway were t-shirts and jeans. I'll go check with him now. Said How, standing up and exited out of the room. What do you plan to accomplish at the meeting, Naruto-sama? If you don't mind me asking. Sona asked. Not too much, not too much. Said Naruto as he stretched out his arms. Oh. It feels so good to be able to move again with any pain, he. This meeting is going to be interesting. Time skip old schoolhouse. Rias and her peerage members were all a little uncomfortable, as they watched the leaders of the three factions talk casually between each other before the actual meeting. Azazel was talking to Surzex while Michael, leader of the Angels, was talking to Seraphol. Azazel had also brought along Valley, who looked like he just got out of a brawl because his face was littered with bandages. He was leaning on the side of the walls away from everyone else with a permanent scowl on his face. Issei growled at Valley, seeing as that is his rival, but was angered even more because Valley was ignoring him. The most that Valley would do was give him a side glance before turning his attention back towards the wall he was staring a hole into. Rias placed a comforting hand on her pawn's shoulder, getting him out of his funk. Calm down, Issei. It's best we don't start anything right now. Plus, he does seem a little injured, so just leave him be. The half-human/devil sighed before agreeing. All right, Bucho, but I'll still keep my eye on him for now. He mumbled. After a few more seconds, Azazel garnered everyone's attention. All right, since we have all talked casual for a while, I believe it's time for us to get down to business. Although I did invite someone else, it seems like they're not coming. Gabriel was also supposed to come. That's odd for her to be late for anything, especially an event like this. Said Michael, rubbing his chin in thought. I assume that Sona is the one over guarding the campus since she's not here with us? Asked Surzex to his little sister. Yes, her along with her peerage members have conducted a barrier around Kuo Academy to make sure that this meeting goes without interruption. She answered. That's good. The Satan said while taking a seat at the round table. However, before the meeting could officially start, there was a knock on the door, confusing some everyone other than Azazel and Michael. It must be Gabriel. Or it could be my special guest. Said Azazel as he watched Kiba open the door, revealing that there were 4 people awaiting them. Gabriel smiled at Kiba in thanks before grabbing the handlebars to Naruto's wheelchair and pushed him in. Behind the two were Orochimaru and Kisame, following them quietly. Ah. So, you arrive at last, Naruto. Said Azazel, standing from his seat with open arms. He. Sorry for being late, I had to get some clothes. Said Naruto with a cheeky grin. The blonde Bael was wearing a dark red button-down shirt and black dress pants with black shoes. I'm glad I got the invitation though. Seraphol was staring at her past lover with wide eyes, not expecting him to be in attendance at all. Na Naruto. She whispered with disbelief. Who is this man, Gabriel? Michael asked his little sister. This is Naruto Bael, a devil and a great friend. I met him some time ago and he's always been exciting to be around. Gabriel said happily to her brother. You invited Naruto, Azazel? Asked Surzex, why? Well, I was impressed by his power that he displayed 2 days ago when he fought against Valley, otherwise known as the White Dragon Emperor, even when he was injured. Also, I don't know where I heard it from, but isn't this the same Naruto Bael that was dubbed the Compass of Victory during the Devil Civil War? Asked Azazel while rubbing his chin. Humph, so that's why you invited me. Said Naruto with a small grin. I should have known you would have known something like that about me to invite me to a meeting like this. I do a lot of research on potential enemies and allies. However, what interests me was why you disappeared for so long. Both Surzex and Serafall eyes widened. While it wouldn't hurt the alliance between the three factions a lot, it still wouldn't look good if Azazel and Michael knew about what happened to Naruto, especially since their former families were some of the devils involved with Naruto's imprisonment. Oh, that? It was nothing. I just decided to lay low for a while, he. Laughed Naruto. I would have thought that there was a more interesting story to it, but I guess I was wrong. The fallen angel leader said with a little shrug. Surzex gave Azazel a small glance, believing that he knew more than he let on. Serafall was extremely nervous now that Naruto was here. However, while she was nervous, what she was surprised and even mad at was the fact that he arrived with Gabriel, her self-proclaimed rival. Jealously started to spread throughout the Leviathan's body as she noticed how friendly Gabriel was acting with Naruto, something she didn't like at all. How has she known Naruto for as long as she says she has? Are they really that close? And why is he acting like I'm not even here? She questioned within her mind. Do you want to sit at the round table with us, Naru? Asked Gabriel to Naruto. Naruto. Serafall's eyes narrowed even more at the nickname that Gabriel had for Naruto, making her even more suspicious of their relationship. It's all right. I'm just here to listen. I'll be on the opposite side of the room listening in. I'll be so quiet, you won't even notice I'm there. He said to Gabriel. Understood. She said with a nod as she sat next to her brother. Orochimaru grabbed the handlebars to Naruto's wheelchair and started to push him to the opposing side of the room. Kisame silently followed the snake man, but not before giving Serafall a skull filled with hatred. Serafall didn't react, but she knew that trying to talk to Naruto now would only make things worse. Valley was staring heavily at the smiling Bael, who paid him no attention at all. The Lucifer decedent growled silently, seeing that Naruto didn't care for his presence whatsoever, similar to how he was treating Issei's presence. He did raise an eyebrow at the fact that Naruto looked fully healed from their battle that happened not too long ago. Also, he noticed that his skin had more color to it, and he could feel his magical energy more than he could when they first met. Something's changed with him. Has he recovered that quickly? All right then. Now that everyone's here, I say we start this meeting. Said Azazel. Same time, northern entrance of Kuo Academy. Sona was staring at the blue shield that covered the academy in deep thought. This should be able to stop any attack from multiple high-class devils. Even if it was destroyed, we'd have enough time to alert the others for backup. She thought strategically. She was pulled out of her thoughts when she heard someone landing near her. Howard just came from a round trip, meeting with everyone in the student council to see if the barrier was strong in their area and to see if they were in position. Everything's clear around the school. I didn't see any problems that could affect the barrier, so we should be good. He said. That's good. She said with relief, this whole meeting has me stressed somewhat. I can tell. Hao replied, I'm not sure why you're so stressed. Even though a major political meeting is happening not too far from us, I don't think anything bad is going to happen. You'd have to be a brave person to attack all of the leaders of the three factions at once. I guess so. She said while adjusting her glasses, but I do want to stay on high alert, just in case. Hao rolled his eyes and created a magic circle on the ground. Sona's eyes widened a little before settling into a small smile when she saw that he summoned 2 lawn chairs that Hao had in the backyard of Naruto's house. Sit. He said plainly as he sat in one of the chairs. You really know how to treat a girl. She said with a roll of her eyes as she took a seat next to him. Just trying to get your mind off of things. He said as he summoned his favorite bottle of red wine and a glass to pour it in. You're no fun when you're stressed about something because then you don't catch any of my jabs I make about you. Of course, your reasoning would be a selfish one. Spoken from a true devil. she said. How hummed at her sipped some of his wine. The two held a comfortable silence for a while before How broke it again. How did you like your conversation with Naruto-sama? Did all of your questions get answered? For the most part, yes, I did. While I did want a more in-depth conversation about him, I knew that I shouldn't ask anything too personal about him. I didn't want to spark something that brought up bad memories. She answered. True, he does seem to have a lot of trust issues. Just a few days ago, he threatened to kill all of us out of fear. Mumbled How before taking another sip. What? Why would he do that? She said with worry. He found out that Anna was the one that battled Bael, and that we knew Serafal was in town. He didn't like the fact that we were hiding stuff from him and instantly assumed that we're plotting against him. It took Kuroka's sleeping powder to get him under control. Wow, how did he find out? She asked. Apparently he had a battle against the White Dragon Emperor. Azazel appeared and stopped Naruto from killing him. It was him that told Naruto-sama everything, or so, that's what Naruto-sama said. He explained. Sona hummed and thought, that's unfortunate. Do you think that now he's been healed by Gabriel-sama that his mental state has also been healed somewhat? Good question, and hopefully that proves to be true. Now that he's healed, my master is going to take his first steps into the public world since his sealing. Yes, Naruto-sama is very strong, but his weakness is his traumatized mind. In order for him to make his plans a reality, he needs to face his own demons before anyone has a chance to use them against him. So, what's the next step from here? She asked. The next step is to leave Kuo. I'll leave Kuo? She said with shock, why do you need to leave Kuo? How sighed, this town, it's garnering a lot of attention, unwanted attention. Our mission here in the human realm was to revive Naruto-sama from his seal. Now that we've done that, there isn't a reason for us to stay here. We plan on moving to an isolated spot in the underworld where Naruto can recover mentally, and to have a small place of operations. And you can't do any of that here in Kuo? Said a very displeased Citriaris. I understand that Kuo has been a hotspot for supernatural beings lately, but that won't stop Naruto-sama from doing what he wants to do. True, but there are still distractions here that could pose a threat. Leaving is just the logical choice right now. What about Orochimaru? He still has a job here at Kuo Academy. She countered. I don't know what he'll do with that job. He may quit or he may stay. All depends on what he wants to do. As for the rest of us, we'll be gone in the coming days. Orochimaru has already set up a spot for us to live in the underworld. The last thing that we need to do to cross off our to-do list is this 3 factions meeting. After this, we should be gone. I believe that Anna is already packing her bags now. He said with a small snicker, she doesn't like this place at all. How took a sip from his glass, but he noticed that Sona's mood had permanently changed. He sighed as he ran a hand through his long hair. You're upset. I am, and disappointed. She stated, I don't want you all to leave. I enjoy your presence here in Kuo. While we may have had our difference over the past few weeks, I've learned so much from you. It's just a shame to see you go. Me? The older Asakura said with confusion, what do you mean by that? Sona mentally cursed herself for her slip-up as she tried to find some type of way to come up with a reasonable excuse. We've just gotten along so well. I look forward to our conversations and whatnot. You understand me, is what I'm getting at. She said with a red blush. Hao stared at Sona with his mouth slightly ajar, unbelieving of what she just said. Sona couldn't meet his stare, so she turned her head away from the bishop of Naruto Bael. The two were silent for a while, and the awkwardness of the situation was unsettling to Sona. Why did I say that? Why couldn't I have kept my thoughts to myself? I probably look so immature in front of him now and... Sona was cut out of her thoughts when she felt Hao's hand on her shoulder. She peered over it to see that Hao was staring back at her with his usual cocky grin. "Aren't you sweet? I didn't think that I left that much of an impact on you." Sona's face flushed with an all-out red blush as Hao pulled her chair closer to his own. "I'll show a little emotion and say that I'll miss you as well, Sona Citri. But just a little bit. Don't think I'll be thinking about you all the time." The two devils entered a small staring contest, with Hao's eyes holding its usual playfulness, while Sona's were filled with confusion along with a hint of happiness. "You know what? Forget it," were her thoughts as his eyes focused on Hao's lips. Hao's cocky attitude quickly turned 180 degrees, and was replaced by a look of confusion when Sona started closing in. Is she really about to? Fuck it. While this was something very new to the powerful Asakura brother, he had seen it done many times in the movies that he would watch with his peerage members, and when Anna and Yo would do it occasionally. He wasn't stressing about his inexperience with kissing because he knew Sona probably didn't have any either. So, with all that factoring to his decision-making, Hao leaned in slowly, tilting his head at an angle that would allow him more access to Sona's approaching lips. Sona's whole world was moving in slow motion as she was centimeters away from Hao's lips. Her heart was racing with excitement, fear, worry, just about every crazed emotion any teenage girl would go through. This was her first time, and it would be with someone she actually liked. The excitement of the situation was overpowering her fear as she was about to make contact with his lips. Hao's head suddenly jerked upwards, and he narrowed his eyes at the barrier. Sona had her eyes closed, so she was still waiting to feel another person's lips on her own. However, she never received that feeling. She opened one of her eyes to see Hao darting his head all around as if he was looking for something. "Something is wrong," he said as he stood up, disheartening the Citri. No, 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 no," she shouted angrily in her mind. What the hell was he talking about? Something was wrong. She didn't sense anything around them, so she was wondering what he was talking about. "Are you sure?" "I don't sense anything at all," she said while grabbing his arm. "Maybe we should go back to Dash. Somebody is here." A few minutes earlier. "Hell yeah. I'd love some peace. Sign me up for the train for peace," shouted Issei with a perverted grin. Azazel had asked both dragon emperors in the room what were the opinions on peace between the three factions. Vala said that he didn't care too much about it, as long as there were strong opponents to face against. Issei's, while he was okay with the idea with peace, after Azazel's explanation that if there was peace between the three factions that he would have more sexy time with his future harem. That's all the pawn of Rias Gremory had to hear before he was drooling at the thought of all the things he could do with the extra time he would have if peace was established. The next thing that was talked about was actually started by Issei. He wanted to know why the church would banish Asia and Zenobia, in which Michael went into a long explanation of the changes the church had to make because of the death of God and keeping the secret safe. Michael asked for forgiveness from both Zenobia and Asia, because of what the church had done to them. It shocked them that the head of angels was asking them for forgiveness, but they accepted it nevertheless. "Well then, I'd say that this meeting is going well," said Gabriel with a smile. "I'd say that it's time to make peace between us official." "Agreed. It's been a long time coming for this. We'll all benefit from this peace treaty," said Surzex. There is one more thing I'd like to address before the signing of this treaty," said Azazel while lacing his fingers together. "What is it about, Azazel?" asked Michael with curiosity. Azazel's head turned towards both Seraphol and Surzex, to the devils in the room. "How would you describe the current state of your side of the underworld?" he asked with a calculative stare towards both Satans. Both of the Satans raised an eyebrow at Azazel. "Well, I'd say that we have a solid government at the moment. There aren't any major economic droughts anywhere on our side of the underworld, nor has there been any disputes lately," said Surzex. Also, it should be known that any conflicts between devils and fallen angels have fallen significantly over the past few decades, Serafal said with sophistication. Excluding the events that happened with Naruto a few weeks ago, there haven't been any major conflicts started by devils that may be a threat to peace between the three factions. Ah yes, those statistics do sound great, but there is something that has caught my eye that has been brewing on the devil's side of the underworld, said Azazel. Surzex narrowed his eyes at the fallen angel leader. What are you talking about? According from some whispers I've been hearing, the devils are starting to have a revolution of some sort, the low-class devils more specifically. Surzex and Serafal's eyes widened a little now. While that's a matter not dealing with the other two factions, what I'm concerned about is the brewing divide between these two classes. I haven't heard of this divide at all, said Michael. Devils have done their best to keep it under wraps, that and this revolution isn't that big yet. However, there haven't been any moves to stop this growing divide either. Azazel said to Michael, apparently, this all started when a high-class devil was saved from death during a raiding game, now that I remember correctly. Azazel turned towards Naruto, who had his eyes closed but was smiling. Wasn't your peerage in that raiding game? Sure was, said Naruto, his smile not faltering in the least, but I wasn't there at the raiding game, so you'd have to ask my peerage members for any in-depth details about the game specifically how. Oh, that's quite all right. I already know the gist of what happened to spark this growing problem. It was Revel Phoenix, a high-class devil of the Phoenix clan, who was recalled at the end of raiding game because she was about to be killed by Hawasakura, correct? Azazel said. Surzex gritted his teeth a little before answering, yes, that's what happened. I made the order to do so because Ravel's father threatened to stop all production of Phoenix Tears if I didn't recall his daughter in time. But this growing problem shouldn't be a factor to stop the peace that is close to becoming a reality, the Satan said. It shouldn't, or at least, I hope it doesn't, said Azazel. See, the problem that could arise from this is the fact that if this divide continues to grow, it could result in a civil war between low-class and high-class devils. And that isn't a wild theory to make since you devils do have a history in civil wars. And how do you believe this could affect the treaty, Azazel? Asked Michael with interest. Well, if a civil war were to happen, since we'd have an alliance with the devils, there may be a chance that the devils may call upon our help to fight against the lower-class devils, especially since low-class devils outnumber high-class devils 5-1. Since they're the ones that deal with most political dealings, it would probably be the high-class devils that call for our help, explained the fallen angel. Gabriel then decided to enter the conversation. That seems like a plausible outcome. However, this peace treaty means that we are with peace with all devils, and not just the high-class devils. Right again, my angel sister. Azazel then slammed his hand on the table and looked at both Satans. The question that I have for you two is that what you devils are going to do to handle this growing situation in the underworld? And if my predications are true and a civil war was to happen, what would you do in response and whose side would you be on? The low-class devils or the high-class devils? Asked Azazel. Literally all eyes were on both Surzex and Serafal, awaiting an answer from them. The two Satans were internally sweating bullets on the inside, trying to conjure up a response to Azazel's question. However, because of how detailed Azazel was with what may happen in the future if the growing divide between devil classes continued, it was incredibly hard to come up with a definite answer that could quell them. Surzex and Serafal instinctively glanced to his right side to take a look at Naruto to see his reaction. The blonde Bael was still smiling happily with his eyes closed like nothing was wrong. Is he even listening to what's going on? Surzex thought with a frown on his face. Naruto's eyes were closed, but they slowly opened. His smile also faded away for a small, hardly noticeable frown. A shiver of fear ran through both of the Satan's body as they looked at Naruto's half-lidded eyes, which were glowing crimson red and not his usual ocean blue eyes. His eyes were filled with rage and hatred that they both felt an immense amount of. While nobody else noticed it, the two were scared of the Bael. They both knew that this was a sensitive topic to Naruto, since he had suffered at the hands of high-class devils, with Surzek's family being involved while Serafal herself was directly involved. The two couldn't pry their eyes away from the rage-filled, red eyes of Naruto as they tried to come up with an answer. It was silent for a while, and the leaders of the Angel and Fallen Angels were still awaiting an answer. "Surzex, are you still with us?" asked Michael. "Oh," said the red-haired Satan. Michael's voice had brought him out of his fear-enhanced trance by Naruto. "I'm sorry, I was lost in thought while coming up with an answer to your question." And what could that answer be?" asked Azazel. Surzex coughed in his hand before starting. "Well, everything that you've said so far is true, Azazel, and it is a topic of discussion both here and in the underworld currently. While I want to be able to tell you that the situation is handled, unfortunately it hasn't. I have plans that I will act upon in the future that will hopefully ease the tension between the social classes of the underworld. However, that isn't an assured thing. The lower-class devils are anger, something that I've seen firsthand when one of my own butlers tried to assassinate me not too long ago. There have been acts to quell their thirst for equality, but if it reaches the point that a civil war breaks out between devils, then I promise you that neither the angels nor fallen angels would be called on for help from either side. This would be a devil problem, so it would only be right for devils to fix it themselves." He finished. "I guess I can take that for an answer," said Azazel, "but you didn't say what side you'd be on." "Because I hold the role of Lucifer over all devils, I would remain neutral in this predicament. However, if it becomes blatantly obvious that one side becomes evil and unethically, I'd glad join the other side in the fight for peace and order." The former Gremory answered. "That's a respectful answer. There's no telling what could happen in a situation like that, so remaining neutral, and then deciding on what side to join would be the best choice to me," said Michael, with Gabriel showing her agreement with a nod. "Thank Lucifer I got out of that one," Surzex said mentally while sighing in relief. He subconsciously took a sideways glance at Naruto again, only to see that he was back smiling with his eyes closed like nothing ever happened. "Well then, now that that's out the way, I believe that we should get to sign this peace treaty." However, before the leader of the fallen angels could continue, a large amount of magical power appeared over the old schoolhouse, alerting everyone. A purple aura suddenly surrounded Asia, Rias, and Aquino, seemingly freezing them. "Hey, is it just me, or did time just stop?" "Seems so, those with superior powers weren't affected by it," said Azazel, crossing his arms over his chest. "You can thank our dragons for that," Vala said, speaking for the first time in a while. "They protected us." A large explosion occurred outside, garnering everyone's attention outside the window. Dozens of magical circles appeared, summoning a large group of people covered in garbs. "Who are those people?" asked Issei. "Magicians, and a lot of them," said Gabriel. "My question is, what is the power that is freezing the young devils?" asked Michael. "It's the half-vampire boy under Rias Gremory. He must have been captured by the magicians and forced to use his powers," said Azazel. "Gasper," muttered Kiba with worry. "It has to be him," said Surzex, staring out the window. "What about the barrier that was set up beforehand?" asked Serafal, knowing that her sister was over said barrier. "Did they break through it?" "I'd say that they didn't. If the barriers were to be broken, we would have felt the disturbance immediately," said Surzex. "They must have already been here before the barrier was set up, and then weakened it by taking out those over it. What's worse is that our guards are disappearing quickly because of the enemy's teleportation magic," said Michael as he watched guards of the three factions disappear in an instant thanks to the magician's power. Surzex narrowed his eyes. "All of this, they've come to well prepared. Somebody on the inside knew about this meeting, a planned ahead, using my sister's servant against us, knowing where to attack the barrier. While that's great and everything, we need to stop that kid from using his sacred gear against us. Azazel stepped in. If they found a way to enhance the kid's power, he could kill us all. Surzex turned to his frozen sister. I just wish that she wasn't caught within his spell. She could have transported to him easily through the castling ability the evil pieces has. I think I have a solution to that, said Naruto, catching everyone's attention. I can send my loyal servant Orochimaru out to go free the boy. Meanwhile, we can take care of those pesky magicians, hee. Are you sure, Naruto-sama? I'd rather be here protecting you, said Orochimaru. I've got Kisame by my side, so I'll be fine, said the Bael with a smile. Do me a favor and make this quick. We don't need to give them any more time at making the little boy's power any stronger than it already is. If that's what you want. Now I have to deal with this idiot child again. Orochimaru mentally groaned. Are you sure that you can go outside and dodge all of that, Mr. Orochimaru? Asked Michael. I'm sure about it. I don't need any teleportation magic to get there. May I ask where the boy was stationed at? Well, the only people that would have known those a part of Ria's peerage, said Surzex. Everyone then turned to Issei, who panicked a little at all the eyes on him. I don't know where Gasper or Kaneko are at, he said with an awkward laugh. I think you should check somewhere within the school, suggested Zenobia. Sigh, I guess so, said Orochimaru, loosening his tie and handing it to Naruto. May you hold this for me, Naruto-sama? No problem, he said, taking his pawn's tie. Now go out there and save those kids. Yes, sir, said Orochimaru as he walked out of the room. Valet, you should cause a distraction and go out there as well. Those magicians will probably be shook seeing the White Dragon Emperor, Azazel said to his pupil. Humph, said Valet before summoning his wings and flying out through the roof. I say we got out there and help as well, said Issei, flashing his boosted gear. Kiba, Zenobia, and Irina all agreed. If you do, can you go make sure if Sotan and peerage members are safe? Asked Seraphol with worry. No problem, said Issei, flashing the Leviathan with a grin and thumbs up. I'll make sure Sona's safe and sound. Thank you very much, Issei, said Seraphol with a soft smile. I hope Hao is okay, said Naruto to Kisame. He was out there as well with Sona. I'm sure the dickhead is okay. At least he get to have fun fighting magicians, the blue man said with a grumble. With Hao and Sona, the two stood their guard as a large group of magicians surrounded them. How aren't they affected by the vampire's abilities? Asked one of them. They haven't made the boy's power strong enough to reach out this far from the school. That, or one of these devils is very powerful, said another magician. Sona analyzed the situation, seeing that there were at least 20 magicians surrounding them. Magicians? Why are they here? How did they even get here? I don't know, but we don't have time to stay here, said Hao while taking in a deep breath through his nose. His eyes snapped open and a small grin started to grow on his face. Spirit of Fire was getting hungry anyway. Sona looked at Hao weirdly. What are you talking about? She asked him. His grin only grew as Spirit of Fire's enormous frame fluctuated to life behind the duo. One of these magicians is a female, and a virgin, he muttered darkly. Spirit of Fire sounded off with a loud roar with a small shockwave of energy following afterwards. What is that thing? Said one of the magicians in fear. Don't let them get any closer. Fire! Shouted another female magician as she shot a beam of orange teleportation magic at Hao. Wave! Muttered Hao lazily. The Spirit of Fire screeched again and created a huge ball of fire within its left hand. The ball was the base of a massive flamethrower that the Spirit of Fire used to wash over all of the magicians, who all screamed with agonizing pain from the hot flames before succumbing to death. However, Hao left one of magicians alive. A female beauty with platinum blonde hair legs were singed from the flames of the spirit of fire. "Gad damn it," she said with a grunt. "Hello there," said Hao. The woman looked up to see Hao standing over her, his menacing brown eyes reflecting the hot orange fires surrounding them. "Ms. Virgin Magician," he finished with a tone that made the magician shudder. "Stay away," she yelled, creating a magic circle that shot out purple lightning. The spirit of fire came in Hao's defense by blocking the lightning with one arm and plowing through the magic circle with its other. The spirit of fire screeched with happiness when it captured the girl and brought it up to its mouth. "Let go of me," she yelled as she desperately tried to free herself from the strong grip of the spirit. "If they're here, then there should be more on the school grounds," said the older Asakura. The screams of the female magician were silenced the moment the spirit of fire devoured her inside of its massive mouth. Its body flashed red as it gleefully digested the girl quickly within its stomach that contained boiling hot magma. "We should check out the others of your peerage to see if they're okay," said Hao. Sona looked at the scene with fear in her heart. Just a moment ago, Hao was his usual cool, arrogant self. But now he was a fiery massive murderer with no compassion in his heart. His dark look in his eyes was similar to the one Naruto had when he was enacting his punishment on Hao so long ago. A shudder of fear ran throughout her body as she looked at the burnt carcasses of what used to be magicians. It seems I forgot how ruthless he can be," she said with a gulp as she pushed her glasses up. "Sona." His voice brought her out of her inner thoughts as she looked over to him. He was standing on the spirit of fire's open palm and looking her direction. The spirit reached its arm out towards Sona, beckoning her to jump on. "Come with us so we can go save your peerage members," he said with an outstretched hand. The Citri heiress nodded and grabbed onto his arm. Hao pulled her up to the spirit of fire's arm. "All right, let's go," Hao said to his partner. The spirit gave off a hellish screech as it jumped in the air and started to fly. "It seems we are under attack," Hao mumbled, seeing that there were hundreds of magicians fighting against the guards the leaders of the three factions brought with them to the meeting. "I just want to know what they could gain by attacking this place." "Somebody that doesn't want peace between us apparently," said Sona with glare focused at the old schoolhouse. "Maybe we should head there to check up on everyone." "They'll be fine," said Hao, dismissing her suggestion. "What we need to do is find out how the barrier was breached and go help your peerage members. They'll be fine by themselves." "If you say so," said Sona. "My peerage members are at the southern, eastern, and western entrances of Kuo Academy. We'll go to each one and see what's happening there." "Agreed," said Hao stoically while creating a blast of fire that purged a group of magicians beneath. "Let's start at the western entrance since we're already headed in that direction." Because of the high speeds that the spirit of fire was flying at, it didn't take long to arrive at the western entrance. Once they landed, they were greeted with the sight of Saji, Ruroko, and Momo fighting against a large group of magicians. They were outnumbered 5-1, and it was very difficult for the younger devils to continuously dodge the magicians' teleportation beams. "So Sona," shouted Saji after dodging another magical blast, "you're okay." "I am," she yelled, jumping off of the spirit of fire and defending Momo from behind with a defensive barrier. "What happened here?" "Apparently these guys were already hiding within the school grounds when we set up the barrier. They then attacked us from behind and we couldn't focus on keeping the barrier up to fight them off, causing it to fall. And with that, they created their own barrier that's messing with our teleportation magic," shouted Ruroko. "Damn it," Sona said under her mouth while summoning a massive water snake that attacked three approaching magicians. "We need to get this over with and save everyone else." "Yes, ma'am," the three shouted in agreement. "TCH, so small," said Hao with a glare at the magicians. The spirit of fire smashed his hands on the ground, sending his fire through it. The ground underneath the unsuspecting magicians bulged before it exploded with a large geyser of fire frying them instantly. "There should be more of them on the way to the southern entrance." I'll go there and you all go the eastern entrance of the school. We'll meet back at the old schoolhouse to help everyone else. He stated plainly before flying off with Spirit of Fire. Wow, said Saji, looking at the destroyed landscape that how caused, I all of a sudden feel very weak now. He finished them off in a couple of seconds while we've been fighting them for over 10 minutes. How is very strong, I see why you like him, Sona. Said Ruruko, nudging her, King's side with a mischievous smirk. Sona blushed and pushed her other pawn off of her, let's go get the others. She said while summoning her wings and flying off. Same time, old schoolhouse. Take this, shouted Issei in his balance breaker mode as he punched a magician in the face. However, 10 more replaced him and all were ready to take out the Red Dragon Emperor. Damn it, these guys are like rats. Hey, Red Dragon guy, shouted one of the fallen angel guards as he landed next to Issei, need a hand? Yeah. Thanks a lot, yelled Issei as he continued his attack against the magicians with his new ally. By the power of Christ, I shall stop those who are against peace between the 3 factions, shouted a female angel who was shooting light spears at the other magicians trying to take down Issei. Are you alright, Irene? Shouted Zenobia as she slashed through another magician. Doing just fine, the brunette yelled back. Watch out, yelled a devil solitaire, slashing through another beam created by a magician with his axe. Stay alert. Thanks, yelled Irene. Well, would you look at that? Said Naruto from within the barrier Surzex and Michael made to protect them, angels, devils, and fallen angels, helping each other. I should take a picture of this, hee. While that is great, I don't think now is the time to make jokes, Naru, said Gabriel as they watched the battle between Azazel and Kateria Leviathan, the former Leviathan who was a part of the old Satan faction during the Civil War. All of this to stop this meeting, they've really planned well. Yeah, but Azazel will be able to take that fraud down, said Seraphal while sticking her tongue out at Kateria. Ha! Said the voice of Aquino from behind them. Rias, Aquino and Asia were all freed from Gaspar's sacred gear, signaling that Orochimaru had saved him as well. Seems like that snake bastard actually saved the little cross-dresser, said Kisame with a tooth-filled grin. Good to see you two back in action, Ms. HIV and Ms. STD. Ahahaha. What, Kisame? What is going on? Shouted Rias. Too much to explain now, but just know that all of your peerage members are safe, said Naruto. Orochimaru should be back with Kaneko and Gaspar any minute now. The only thing left to do now is to defeat Kateria and the rest of the magicians. And it seems like Azazel has everything handled now, said Syzex as they watched Azazel kill the former Leviathan with a light spear to the face, disintegrating her. The monstrous screeching of the Spirit of Fire signaled its arrival as it dropped down onto the middle of the battlefield, catching everyone's attention. Let's clean this up, Spirit of Fire, Hao muttered darkly as he filled his partner with more of his magic. The Spirit of Fire glowed a dangerous red as he coughed. Lava started to pour from the corners of its mouth, ready to attack the remaining magicians. Magma uproar. The Spirit of Fire groaned as created giant missiles of fire that shot through the remaining army of magicians. Nobody on the enemy's side was safe as the extreme temperatures of the fire incinerated any forms of protection that the magicians could make, destroying them the instant the missiles made contact with them. With a fire display similar to a volcanic eruption, the area was cleared of any magicians, leaving a calm Hao, with his cloak waving violently with the strong winds, watching his destruction carried out stoically. Well, would you look at that? Said Azazel as he looked at the scene in front of him, like a glimpse of hell. That boy is really powerful, he said while making a magical circle to heal the wound he caused from cutting off his arm. And very destructive, said Surzex as he lowered his hands, causing the barrier around them to collapse. Well, with that, we're done. The boy got the rest of the dash. Azazel was cut off by a blast of blue magic to the face, rocketing him to the ground. Azazel, shouted Gabriel, worried over her fallen brother. He must have lost my edge. Bad Valley, said Azazel after digging himself out of his own crater. Sorry Azazel, said Valley from within his balance breaker, things look more interesting on this side. You dick. You're the one that betrayed us, shouted Issei at his counterpart. I can understand, but there is something that I'd like to ask you, said Azazel, calling forth his black wings and flying up to Valley. You know Shemhazai, my vice-governor general. He's recently informed me of a faction gathering the dangerous elements and members of the three great powers. What were they called again? Anya, the Choice Brigade. He finished. With all the things they've done here, using chaos in their group's name is accurate, said Surzex. Whoever is in charge must be strong, but why would anyone gather such dangerous people together? Asked Seraphal. If I had to guess, the person that is leading you is none other than Ophis, the Ouroboros dragon, am I correct? He said, shocking everyone. Yes, it is true that I've sided with Ophis, but believe me that we don't have the slightest interest in world domination. We're just a group who formed in order to use our power and that's all, said Valley. Well, that makes more sense, said Azazel. Conspiring with Kateria seems a little beneath you, but even so, both of you had devil titles stolen from you, so I wasn't sure. He's a devil king decedent too? Asked Seraphal, surprised at the revelation. My name is Vala Lucifer, direct descendant of one of the dead devil kings. My mother was a human, so I'm a half-blood. My father was the grandson of the former great devil king Lucifer, he announced. Shock was evident amongst those listening, especially the devils, seeing as their opponent was one of such royalty within the devil society. However, that shock was disturbed by the angry voice of Kisame. Man, fuck all of that shit, he said while walking past everyone and headed towards Valley. I don't care if you're related to the original Lucifer, Jesus, the fucking moon. I've got smoke with you, little boy. Oh really? What could that be? Asked Valley. Your memory might be fucked up cause of the pounding you took a few days ago, so let me remind you. You fought against that idiot over there. Kisame pointed to Naruto, who was trying to tie Orochimaru's necktie around his own neck, and failing miserably, and you hurt him. Now, the only problem I have with that is that you fucking hurt him and not me. He is correct, in his own way, said Orochimaru, walking out of the foliage with Kaneko and Gasper at his sides. You did hurt my king, and therefore you must pay. Rias. Issei, shouted Gasper, running up to Rias and hugging her close. I'm glad to see you two safe, she said with happiness, hugging her, Bishop, tighter. Have I see, said Valley, and you plan on killing me here? It's an open option, said Hao, landing next to Orochimaru and Kisame. The three were emitting waves of Ki that was so intense, it forced many of the younger devils on their knees. Anybody who hurts our king should consider themselves dead. I noticed that you still haven't recovered fully from your fight with Naruto-sama, said Orochimaru. Seems like killing you wouldn't take long at all. Valley growled at the snake man because he knew that Orochimaru was right. His injuries during his battle with Naruto weren't healed all the way yet, and he wasn't suspecting said Bael to be at the meeting along with some of his peerage members, who all seemed strong. Before he could retort, the barrier surrounding Kuo was destroyed as another teenage boy entered the field, landing right next to Valley. Biko, what are you doing here? Asked Valley. I was sent to find you because we're finally going to fight against the Northern Earth gods. We need to head back and join the others, said the muscular boy. I think not, said Orochimaru with a wicked flash in his eyes. Snakes shot from out of his sleeve at immense speeds and wrapped themselves around both Valley and Biko. You're not going anywhere until you answer some questions of mine. Ha ha ha. You think this could hold us? Asked Biko with a laugh. The teenager flexed his muscle, breaking not only the hold Orochimaru's snakes had, but the snakes themselves. Valley broke free from their grasp as well with minimal effort. the snake's blood spattering everywhere. Orochimaru smirked as he snapped his fingers. The blood of the snakes changed colors from blood to a sick green. It quickly floated off of the ground and trapped both Valley and Biko in prison of water. What? This isn't water, it's venom. Thought Biko, I can sustain in something like this since I have a lot of magic and stamina, but Valley. He turned to his friend to see that the venom had already entered Vala's body. Purple veins bulged from the sides of Vala's face as he couldn't hold his balance breaker any longer. This isn't good. He's done for, said Kisame, grabbing Samehade and prepared speed towards Valley and Biko. Stop. Let them go. Naruto's voice stopped Kisame from pursuing any conflict with the two. Let them go, Orochimaru. Without even questioning his master's orders, the venom prison lost shape and fell to the ground, freeing the two teenagers. Valley entered a coughing fit as he tried to gather his breath, but was failing to do so. Oh. What the fuck, man? Shouted Kisame to Naruto, why let them go? They're not hurting anybody. Said Naruto, wheeling himself next to his peerage members, hey, Valley. Valley looked up at Naruto with hate-filled eyes. Those eyes didn't affect Naruto in the slightest as he continued, this is the second time now when I could have killed you, but you were saved. The first time was by Azazel, and now it's from my mercy. Take this opportunity to get stronger, and when I see you next time. A smirk filled with evil grew upon Naruto's face, I'll kill you then. If looks could kill, Naruto would have been dead 10 times over from the intensity of Vala's glare. However, his coughing fit was stopping him from doing anything else. Biko quickly picked up the White Dragon Emperor and vanished with a magic seal, leaving them to their own devices. Well, that was fun, said Naruto with a cheeky grin. I swear to God I'm going to kill you for that. That was the fucking White Dragon Emperor I could have killed. Do you know how much street cred I could have got for killing him? Kisame shouted at his king as he grabbed his dress shirt and comically shook Naruto around until he was foaming from the mouth. I guess that ends things, said Surzex with a sigh, we can finish this peace treaty now. Yes, I agree, said Michael with a beaming smile, it's already been shown that the three powers can work together during the battle against those magicians, so why not unite together? Humph, if someone would have told me 200 years ago that the three factions would find peace, I would have laughed them out the room. Seeing this now happening is so unreal, but it needs to be done, said Azazel, but first I say we use our combined efforts to the school grounds of Koa Academy, no? How? Shouted Sona. Sona, along with the rest of her peerage, landed next to Naruto's peerage, all of them unharmed, glad to see everything went well. Good to you lot unharmed, said How with a small smile, I assume that you cleaned through those magicians with ease, You goddamn right, shouted Saji, jumping in between How and Sona, you should have seen how I spanked those magicians' asses. They couldn't handle all the awesomeness that I possess, he said proudly. The older Asakura rolled his eyes at the pawn, if this was any other time, I would have made fun of you, but seeing as you kept Sona safe, I guess you did a job well done. He congratulated. How actually complimenting someone. What has this world come to? Fufufu, laughed Orochimaru. It seems like my bishop is in good spirits, so let's leave him like that for now, Orochimaru. It's a rare occurrence and I like to see how happy. He's done well, said Naruto to Hao. Hao smiled at his master and bowed, thank you very much, Naruto-sama. So what do you have planned now, Naruto-sama? Asked Rias, her and her peerage joining the group. I don't know. No, I guess it's time for us to leave, said Naruto. I'll leave? Said Issei, why leave? Don't you like Kuo? I do like Kuo. I like it a lot, but my peerage member has expressed many times that Kuo is becoming a supernatural hotspot. This invasion by the Chaos Brigade only furthers the point that Kuo is becoming less of a private spot that I once thought it was. In order for me to enact my plans, I need a place that is secluded, so I guess it's back to the underworld," he said, receiving a nod from Orochimaru. "Absolutely. Since I've already prepared a place of operations for us in the underworld, it would be better for us to leave as soon as possible. We'll be packing our bags the moment we get back home," said Orochimaru. "But you have a job here, Orochimaru. Do you really want to leave that?" asked Issei in desperation. He didn't want to see Naruto and his peerage leave. He was close with all of them and considered them to be friends. I do enjoy teaching, but I may have to resign doing that. My master comes first, and if I can't stay a teacher, then I'll resign with no hesitation," he answered. "So I guess there is no convincing you to stay?" asked Akino, sadness evident on her face. "Yeah, it seems like we're leaving," Naruto said with sadness. "Before we leave though, we'll meet up with you all. Tomorrow, after class, we'll come to the old schoolhouse to meet for the last time before we head for the underworld." "Yes sir," said Rias. "I'll be sure to make some of your favorite snacks for our final meeting." No, Rias. This won't be our final meeting. Just think of it as a prolonged vacation. We'll see you sometime soon after tomorrow. That's a promise, believe it," said Naruto with a smile. All of the younger devils smiled at Naruto, believing his words without any doubt. "Then we'll see you tomorrow. Take care," said Rias. "Wait!" yelled a distinct voice, stopping Orochimaru from transporting the group back home. It was Seraphol, who looked troubled. Naruto's smile instantly changed into a frown as he stared at his past lover. An uncomfortable feeling spread throughout the Leviathan's body as she felt his eyes on her. However, she ignored that feeling to the best of her abilities as she spoke. "Naruto, I just wanted to tell you that I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry for everything that I've done for you." "He doesn't want to hear any of that bullshit, you fake-ass Tinker Bell," growled Kisame. Seraphol flinched at Kisame's words, but she continued speaking. I know I don't deserve it anymore, but I do still love you." The Leviathan let her words hang in the air, shocking many of those who didn't know what was going on. It was awkwardly quiet amongst the younger devils, Naruto's peerage, and Seraphol. They were all waiting on a response from the blonde Bael, but Naruto held his same small glare at the former Citri. Seraphol turned away, not able to keep contact with his angry eyes, the same eyes that used to have so much love in them whenever he looked at her. "Let's go," Naruto said coldly, not even bothering to reply to Seraphol's confession. Orochimaru nodded and finished the teleportation seal, the group slowly sinking into it until they were fully devoured by the seal, headed back home. Seraphol sighed as sadness ran through her body. "I guess that's really it then," she mumbled to herself, but loud enough to where everyone could hear her, and she disappeared with her own magic circle. A nearby Gabriel, who was helping the reconstruction of Kuo Academy, overheard the conversation. She tilted her head in confusion as she spoke. "Seraphol loves Naru?" The next day after class. Kuo Academy. The regular school day at Kuo Academy had finished and the students were released to their own devices for the rest of the day. After the invasion the night prior, the angels, fallen angels, and devils all used their magical power to fix any damage done to the campus, hiding everything dealing with the invasion to human knowledge. The campus looked the same as it did any other night, beautiful. The student council had joined the occult research club at the old schoolhouse for their last meeting with Naruto's peerage for a while. Akino, with the help of Tsubaki and Asia, made snack for everyone to enjoy during the meeting. Rias had to stop Kaneko a few times from stealing any of cookies before Naruto's peerage had arrived, displeasing the girl. The group didn't need to wait long, as Naruto and his peerage appeared together in Magic Seal, YOSH. "We have arrived to party," shouted Lee, announcing the group's arrival. "Quite, Lee," Anna said sternly, frightening the boy. "I don't want to hear any yelling." "Sorry, Ms. Anna," Lee whispered. "Glad to see everyone arrived well." said Akina with a smile. We have a lot of snacks for everyone, so please enjoy yourself. I don't mind if I do, Naya, shouted Kuroka, making a dash for the snacks. She wasn't the only one that made a dash for the snacks, as Kaneko was right by her, stacking her plate up with sweets. Stop hogging all the chocolate chip cookies, Nya, she hissed at her sister. No, Kaneko said adamantly as she pushed her sister out of the way to get more snacks. Seems like those two are having a good time, chuckled Naruto. Do you want me to get you anything, Naruto-sama? Asked Orochimaru. No thank you. I'm good. Need to watch what I eat so I can remain tough, he said. Suit yourself, Kisame said, bumping past Naruto in his wheelchair to get himself some snacks. This shit looks delicious. Disrespectful behemoth. Orochimaru growled at Kisame. Forgive him, Naruto-sama. The shark demon doesn't have any manners. It's alright. That's how Kisame acts, said Naruto. Enjoy yourself, Orochimaru. You deserve some snacks as well. I don't like sweets, he said. That's why I made you a special dish, Orochimaru, said Rias with a grin. She flashed him a plate of deviled eggs. I'm sure you would enjoy a few, no? A small glint gleamed in Orochimaru's yellow eyes. Well then, since you're offering, I will take these off of your hands, princess. Thank you, he said, holding back his excitement of tasting his favorite food. Sure thing, hopefully I didn't lace it with anything strange, she said with a playful wink. Orochimaru grinned at the Gremory princess. Fufufu, very funny, princess. I liked you more when you didn't know how to make jokes like that. You taught me well, she said with a smile. A little too well if you ask me, but yes I did, he said with a small chuckle. Such a shame that all this won't be happening as often anymore. It is, but we should just enjoy this last moment with each other, and when we're able to come together again, we'll take that opportunity, said Rias. Well said, said the snake man before swallowing a deviled egg whole. Kuku, delicious. Your cooking has to be one of the better qualities about you, princess. That was mean, Orochimaru. There are many good things about Rias, said Naruto. Like what, master? Asked Orochimaru, very interested in what he was going to say. She's gullible, he said with a wink. Orochimaru chuckled while Rias blushed red with embarrassment. Stupid Naruto-sama, she mumbled under her breath, walking away from the pawn and king. The last meeting between the three groups continued for another hour and a half. Laughs were shared amongst the groups as they remembered their times together in Kuo. Everyone had to watch their plates all throughout the get-together because of the two cat burglaries, Kaneko and Kuroka, trying to steal everyone's snacks. Nevertheless, everyone had a good time together. Anna was the first person to alert everyone of the time. This has been fun, but our time is running short, she said with her usual stoic voice. Ah. So soon? Asked Naruto. She's right. I guess I'll go prep the house before everyone else arrives. Take this time to say your closing remarks, everyone, said Orochimaru, disappearing by the help of his magic seal. Sigh, I don't like leaving you guys, but it seems like that time has come, said Naruto. I just want to start off by saying that we really appreciate you, Naruto-sama. You're a really cool dude, Issei said with a thumbs up. And we've really learned a lot from you as well, said Sona. You've challenged our usual thought processes many times for our betterment, and it's helped us a lot. I bet she still can't make that water serpent spell any better, Kisame said with a mumble, but everyone heard it and giggled. Sona rolled her eyes but continued, anyway, what I was trying to say before I was rudely interrupted was that you've done a lot for us, and we'll be forever grateful towards you and your peerage members. Even me? Asked Kisame. Sure, Sona said dully. Bet, said Kisame. I enjoyed making fun of you, little Citri. I'm glad that this was a win-win situation for the both of us. He said with Samahata growling in agreement. We did have some fun here. Lee and I had fun hanging out with Issei from time to time, said Yo, and those training sessions were great as well. YOSH. I enjoyed training with those of the Gremory peerage. Whenever we meet again, we should spar to test our abilities. Shouted the green beast. No. Never again, you stamina freak. Stated Kaneko with a blank stare. Well, hopefully you all don't slack on your training while we're gone, especially you, whatever your name is. Said Hao, pointing at Saji. Said Pawn's face flushed red with anger as he teleported in front of the smirking Hao. I'll show you. Oh, I can't wait to beat that disgusting smirk off of your face the next time I see you. You'll see. Shouted Saji. Good, I'll take you up for that challenge then, little boy. Said Hao, causing Saji to growl at him. Just make sure the next time I see you you're less useless than you already are. Why you? Saji screeched through his clenched teeth. Can you two please stop screaming, Naya? Asked Kuroka, snacking on a strawberry cupcake. You're making my ears hurt. Yes, Sona, can you please control this person in front of me? Asked Hao. Steam shot out of Saji's ears as he tried to attack Hao, but was being held back by Momo and Ruruko. Even during times like this, you still find a way to piss off Saji. Said Sona with a sigh. I find the fool's anger enjoyable. Said Hao. I find it annoying. Said Anna, he's worse than Issei eating food from our fridge, something he still hasn't paid for. She said with a glare centered at him. He. Sorry about that. I'll pay you all back the next time I see you. He said awkwardly, trying to avoid Anna's viscous wrath. A magic circle appeared next to Naruto, alerting everyone. Orochimaru landed next to his master and spoke, everything has been moved to our new lodging. Time to wrap this up. I guess so. Mumbled Naruto, but I'm glad that I got to know you all. He said with a smile, while I did have my own motives in starting a relationship with Rias and Sona, I'm glad that I did that because I've honestly enjoyed watching you two and your peerages grow over these past few months. I know that it's a sad thing to see us go, but we're meant elsewhere. Your stories are here, at Kuo, while ours are elsewhere. I want you all to take what you've learned from us and use it to the best of your abilities. It'll only help you in the future. Naruto turned to Issei with a smile. Issei, you hold things down here while I'm gone. Make sure everyone is safe. I'm sure that we'll run into you all soon, and when we do, we'll have loads of fun. He. Thanks again for everything, all of you. Said Rias with a beaming smile. No problem. And if you all need some help, you know who to come to. Said Naruto with a cheeky grin, I'll be right there as soon as possible, believe it. We'll see each other soon. Said Orochimaru, creating a large magic circle underneath the Bael peerage. Until then. Bye, Chiron big sister Kuroka loves you, Naya. She said with a wave as they slowly disappeared, headed for their new home. Underworld. Outskirts of Bael territory. The group appeared on a beach shore with an open view of the red waters the underworld was known for. While everyone other than Orochimaru were wondering where they were, Naruto's eyes instantly widened. Why are we? Hello. Said a very familiar voice from behind them. The group turned around to see Miss Bael awaiting them with a small smile. Hello, if you do not know, my name is Miss Bael. Oh, we know you very well. Growled out Kisame, knowing that Misla was in support of Naruto's ceiling. Misla gulped in fear at Kisame's rage, but she continued with her speech. I know, that we may not be on the best of terms, but I helped Orochimaru with the arrangements during these past few weeks with the new house. New holy shit, it's a fucking mansion. Shouted Kisame. Sure enough, right next door to Misla's small. Lame, insignificant. Unnoticeable. Stupid house. Was a 3-story giant fucking mansion. Thanks to a generous fund from the Asakura family, of course, said Orochimaru. Of course, we paid for it, said Hao with a roll of his eyes. Why yes. Complete with 12 bedrooms and 13 bathrooms, it's a VE-move bitch, yelled Kisame as he ran up to the house. If Misla hadn't moved at the last second, she would have been flattened the shark demon on a quest to search through his new home. You all go check out our new home, except for you, Kuroka, said Naruto. Naruto. Kuroka's eyes widened after hearing Naruto say her name and not the usual my protege. However, she did notice that Naruto wasn't even focused in the house, choosing to glare at Misla instead. YOSH. Let's go, shouted Lee, following Kisame's lead and dashed to their new house. One by one, they all followed, leaving Naruto, Kuroka, and Misla alone on the shore. Misla frowned, noticing that Naruto's glare wasn't moving. I see you're still mad, she said. Of course, I am, he answered. Again, if you weren't Saraward's mother, I would have killed you by now. I understand. I just want you to know that I'm sorry for everything, and as promise, I'll help you with all of your plans, she said with a bow. She then sent a small glance at Kuroka, who was listening to their conversation with interest. Is it safe to talk about confidential things? Of course. Why wouldn't it be safe? Kuroka is my queen after all, responded Naruto, prompting his head on his knuckle. I'd trust her with anything, he said, adding on to the shock Kuroka was feeling. Well, what's going on? She thought, highly confused. When was the last time he's used my name twice in the same sentence? And does he really trust me that much? I'm sorry for questioning it then, said Misla. I wanted to know if you still wanted to add me to your peerage? No, I've decided against that, said Naruto. You don't deserve to be a part of such a prestige group of people. I'm sorry for suggesting that to you so long ago. I was acting off of my raging emotions during that time. You shouldn't be the one apologizing, said Misla with a small smile. I'm here to help your transition from the human realm to the underworld to atone for my sins of the past. If you need anything, I'll be next door. Naruto nodded, understood. She gave the duo one last smile before heading back to her house to retire for the day. That left the king and queen duo alone together on the beach. Other than the peaceful sounds of waves crashing against each other, it was quiet as the two watched the spectacular scenery around them. While they did have a big house, it was isolated far from any other devils, and came with view one would see on postcard. Naya, Naruto. Kuroka spoke, breaking the silence. Yes, my protege? He asked her. Why do you call me my protege? She asked. Because you are my protege? He said, somewhat confused. But when you were talking to that woman, you introduced me as Kuroka and not my protege, she said. I don't know, I don't even know when I started calling you that, he said with a shrug. I guess one day it said it, and it just stuck. Your name is Kuroka though, so I introduced you to Misla as Kuroka. Good, Naya. I never liked that name, she said. Then I won't call you that ever again. All you had to do was tell me, he said with a smile. I was scared, Naya, she said with a small smile and a shrug of her own, but I guess I shouldn't be scared of you. I'm sorry for that. No, I haven't been the best king lately, he said, looking off into the distance, instilling fear into my peerage member's heart. That isn't the best way to run things. I'm sorry for ever making you uncomfortable. I realized yesterday after my little outburst after being healed by Gabriel that I need to better control myself. I plan on doing some of that meditation stuff with Anna, hopefully that can get my nerves together. Kuroka walked next to Naruto's side and smiled at him. That sounds nice. I might join you a few times, Naya. Good. I'd enjoy it more with you there, he replied. Of course, we can't be making pranks and disturbing Anna like how we would do anyone else. She's a scary girl. But that's so much fun. She pouted. Naruto laughed at his queen wholeheartedly. She joined in with him for a few rounds of laughter. After settling down, Naruto asked her, "Do you like it here?" "I didn't know that Orochimaru would choose here out of all places, but it'll work." "I do, Naya. This is the perfect spot that's far away from everyone else, so that you can carry out your plans in peace." She responded, "I just wish that I knew what those plans were, Naya." "Oh. I still haven't told you?" "Well, if I hadn't, let me tell you no." He said with a smile, "I promise you, Kuroka, I know that you out of all people would love what I'm going to accomplish. You'll be living a life of luxury when everything falls into place." "Really now?" she said, her ears perking up in interest. "And what could that be, Naya?" "Oh ho ho ho, you're going to love it," he said with a hand clap. "You'll be so happy. All of us will benefit from this amazing plan, and we'll all live our days together in happiness. None of this would be happening if you didn't leave Papa for Jinta. You didn't put us first. You deserve this." Naruto sent his queen and devilish smirk. How does Naruto the great king of the underworld sound? That's it for this reading. Hit like and subscribe for a free ticket pass going to the different worlds of anime fanfictions. Looking forward to having you on board again.